Whoa! Look at that!
Wow.
Belmont.
Welcome back and Merry Christmas. It's not season's greetings. It's not happy holidays. It's Merry Christmas. I am your host, Mike Val, with another episode 5 of Over the Cap, sponsored by, we'll say was sponsored by the Mets still, John, because our owner, he's still just spending millions and millions and millions of dollars like it's fucking water, and I love it. Like, this guy just wants to spend millions on the title. How great is that?
You know, I haven't been keeping up too much, but I'm going to take your word that we keep spending money, and I'm definitely thankful for having a GM such as our gentleman, Steve. And it's nice to actually be able to look forward to something.
Yeah, I mean, they'll screw it up somehow like they always do, but it's nice to know that I have a billionaire owner who just wants to win and doesn't care what he does to win.
I agree completely. I'm trying to have the assistance of my girlfriend come get my new puppy because she's crying outside the door.
Oh, well, wonder if we can bring the puppy in there. I gotta get rid of this hat. This hat's pissing me off.
You know what? Maybe I will. Well, I'll bring her in first before I send the message.
Yeah.
That's assuming she's still at the door.
Yeah, so let me take my Santa hat off here. That's going to be my Met rant on the week. Not much more to report on the Mets this week. We did sign Adam Ottavino for 2 years for another $15 million. Here comes the puppy. Now, if this doesn't make you want to just roll up and just hug this thing, I don't know what's wrong with you. Adorable.
All right. Yeah, this is Evelyn. She's a baby.
Evelyn?
She's only 3 months old, but she's gonna get decent size.
What is Evelyn?
She's a dachshund. She's a baby dachshund.
Okay.
And she's about just about 3 months old now. She's the best puppy in the world, and she was an early Christmas present.
That's probably the best Christmas gift you can get right there.
Totally. I don't have any kids, and I don't know what it's like to be a dad. Obviously, you do, but for me, I haven't had my own dog in quite some time, if ever, from start to finish. So anyway, I like that she was bitching outside the door, but we had to stop it to some extent. So
understandable. Well, let's have Evelyn join us tonight.
Okay.
So I did my Met rant. We're doing the Mets. Holidays, it's Merry Christmas. It's not season's greetings. Let's establish that.
I mean, technically, we should say Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah as well.
I think we're in day 2 of Hanukkah right now.
Yeah, 2 or 3, right?
I think it started Monday.
I don't know. If anybody wants to chime in, we'll take anybody's word for it. But tonight's topic, John. How about we've discussed the best one-hit wonders? That was a good one last week.
That was. I do think I got to a point where I was rattling off names that shouldn't have been characterized as one-hit wonders. So I want to make sure that our viewers are aware I wasn't shitting on anybody with that one-hit wonder title. No. But again, if you go based on logic, which doesn't seem to exist anymore, that actual title means one hit. So I was trying to find people that had one title.
Somebody had brought up afterward, the message me, said Tony Reyes was a one-hit wonder. That's another guy. No, not even close.
Did he only have one title, Tony? The Motor City?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. But
yeah, again, that's another one that, really by one title. But yeah, you're right. I would never even have thought to put Tony on that list. Not exactly. Shot.
So tonight's list, or tonight's discussion, rather.
I have a couple, by the way. I lied to you earlier about that.
Yeah. I think me and you are going to have the same one for number 1. I think it's the obvious one.
Oh, so I didn't actually rank mine. So
I didn't rank him either, but I think if we're going to say the best one that never went on the tour, it's going to be the same guy. It's the same guy.
I don't know about that. Okay. I don't know if we would both pick the same guy. for the best ever. I actually really hadn't even thought about the best ever on tour.
They did that.
To not go on tour. But if you want to go ahead and say a name to get it started, go right ahead.
All right. So everybody knows what we're doing. So tonight's topic is going to be best amateurs to ever bowl. The bowl, professional amateurs, right? That never went on tour. And I'm not saying they didn't bowl a stop, but I mean, like, were regular touring pros or had a card. You can't, if a guy gets an exemption or bowls the Masters, that's not bowling on tour. I mean, bowling professionally on tour, and that's where predominantly the list that I have here is.
Sounds good.
I'll throw a name out. No, let's play guess the guy first.
Okay, I'm ready.
We'll do that like we normally do. We'll guess the guy, right?
Sure.
This guy, you know what, John? I think this is my number one, and two people have already discussed it. That's my number one.
That was mine too.
That
was mine too.
There's nobody better than Newman. Period.
Totally.
Are we in agreement? That's the best guy that never bowled on tour.
Yes, I feel bad for, you know what? I feel bad for myself partially before I say this, but I feel bad for anybody that's never gotten the pleasure of watching Mike Newman in his prime. And I didn't ever really get to watch Newman hardcore. Like the first event I ever watched Newman bowl, like front to back.
Was it the JP when? Yeah.
Right. When he just missed the show. And it was always a discussion whether or not he missed the show on purpose, which you can totally take either way, depending on, how you wanted to look at it. But I mean, he was, I'm into bodybuilding, and I've been a fan of Kai Green for just over a decade now. And Kai Green, for those of you who don't know Kai Green by name, if anybody watches Stranger Things, early in the second season when 11 meets, I think it's 8 or 7, the other girl in that gang, there's a big guy with a bun hair and like kind of long, like old school Tong Po style. Kai Green, where was I going with this? Where the hell? Why did I even mention this? Newman
bowling the stop, yeah.
So Kai Green in 2009, when Jay Cutler won Mr. Olympia, that was Kai Green's first ever bodybuilding show, first time he was ever on the scene in the top 20. And he wound up coming in third that year. And nobody had ever heard of him in the IFBB world at the professional level. And he just came, and he fit so well with the other 0.0001% of the world's elite in that sport. Everybody was shocked by how amazing Kai Green was. That's how I feel about Mike Newman when I watched him at the JP Open. The same thing that JD just said. He was almost a man playing amongst boys, even at the most pinnacle level, at something that he didn't do full time. That is certainly one of the reasons why he will always be like the best in my eyes, just for the simple fact that he entered that world so elegantly.
He belonged there.
Yes.
There was, and I get ripped apart by Wriggles all the time, and I don't remember the exact number. There was one year where he won like 4 Eagles at the Nationals in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think that's still a record, but he had won, I want to say it was singles all events, maybe doubles and the team all events. He won at least 4 Eagles in the 1 year. I don't remember. Jeff will rip me apart for giving the fake news again, but didn't, and what was your favorite memory of Newman at Carolina that year? Because I know what mine was. I caddied that year.
Yeah,
49 and 50.
If I recall, that was the match where it was 300, 299.
That cost him the show.
Yeah, and who was that against? Leto?
Yeah, it was on. It was the first pair downstairs, right?
I don't know that.
Downstairs. I thought it was downstairs. I thought.
I just remember the scores. I don't remember what pair they were on. You got me there.
I thought it was downstairs, but Newman was the best that I never saw him like where JD did or those guys. When he was throwing urethane, but I watched him towards the end of his career, even in Vegas, bowling the roller. He was just unbelievable.
Yeah,
and he looked awkward, like very awkward swing, but oh my God, he was.
Everything was awkward. The palm went down on the follow through. The elbow was hitched in the backswing. The starting stance, he was spread eagle with all the weight on the back leg and that erect front leg. But it all looked pretty. It all worked. It was really amazing to watch. It really was.
If JD is still here, Can we? I don't know. Does JD know how many titles he won at the roller? How many roller titles he has?
It's a good question. I certainly don't know the answer to that one.
I don't know the answer to that one either. I mean, I'm trying to pull one up in Newman so we can show people what he looked like.
Oh, we got some video.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up a video of Mr. Newman. So people that let's do this. We'll share, and we're going to share here, John, and we're going to go to this is the first one that popped up. So this is cream of the crop.
He's the guy that's worked on this baby as if though it were his own personal babe.
And right behind him was Kathy Henry, as you mentioned before.
And there he is.
Another one of the tournament directors. Also a player in this area that bowled back-to-back 300 games. I wanted to congratulate Kathy on that accomplishment.
Oh.
Looking for the strike there, but not getting the 10 out.
You know, both
He
both
kind of looks
men
like
have
Weber,
had
like
really an
facial,
opportunity
right?
to, if
Like
not
when Weber,
close
like
the
that
door,
early
to put
90s
some
Weber look?
nails on the door.
No, you know who he looks like to me? He looks
Capitalize.
like the shorter guy from Weekend at Bernie's.
Not go. $10,000 on top right now.
The
Second
the
place,
two guys that carry
$12,000.
Bernie
There's a
around.
lot of money here at stake.
Mr. Lomax, yes.
Yeah.
Can I get one of Newman throwing a strike?
The home stretch. That's when you think of, gee,
Behind you.
That's
There's
it.
nothing you can
That
do
purple
about
beast?
it. It's you against the 10 pins. Whatever your opponent does,
Looks
you
like
can't
it.
stop. You just have to go out there and get the most that you can get and hope your opponent doesn't get as many as you do.
Got that, Mike? Hit the most you can get and hope your opponent doesn't get as many.
Oh my, he catch a handful there.
bang.
To keep the 15-pin lead.
Yeah, it's almost like when you watch it, it's virtually impossible for him to yank it. Even though his thumb's in, like, it's impossible for him to turn it early. Like, he's so committed to every single shot he threw. He's so good. So
All
good.
right. So we'll put Newman on the list. Newman's number one. Obviously, nobody is going to argue that one.
All right.
All right. Let's see.
I've got
Go
I've got one for you.
Fire away.
Would you like some hints?
Absolutely. I'm all about the guessing game. I got some popcorn too, so I'm ready.
He has made a telecast. It was at a Masters event. And to my knowledge, it is the only telecast he's made. And he lost in the first game. At this time, it was a major, but it was a major that only had 2 matches on television. So they had the shootout round and then the title match. Now, I have 2 guys that made this show. The 2 guys that are on my list made this show that I'm talking about.
Okay.
So if you guess either one of them, that's okay. But if you know what I'm talking about, it's the taller of the 2 competitors.
Chris Sand.
Yes, sir.
He
Chris Sand.
He was in the match that Parker shot 300 on.
Yes, he was throwing a skybolt, and he bowled a really good 240 that game. But
he did.
Chris Sand, ironically, because we're talking about him after Newman, the similarities in their games at certain points is kind of cool to me. Like, Chris Sand also had that kind of hitchy push away. He also pulled it up and almost bent his elbow in the backswing. And when he let it go, I mean, he really, I don't want to say flared towards his target, but he really went after it. Like, he committed to the shot that he was throwing. And I thought that Chris Sand was sensational. I mean, this got to remember, I'm 14, 15 years old when he makes that show. So, and I'm a lefty, and I'm like, whoa, here's a lefty that bangs on it, but he's clean like a couch. Like, this is really, really cool to watch. So I have to say, but that's the thing, JD, is I don't know if he went on tour for long enough to, does Chris Sand not qualify?
I didn't know Chris Sand was on tour.
Neither did I, at least not for a period of time. And if that is the case, do you want the other guy on that show simply because
Mike Mullen
is Mike Mullen? So either of those guys for me are guys that absolutely would have won on tour had they been out there long enough.
Now Ray says it's Timmy Mack, but Timmy Mack was exempt on tour. He got through tour trials one year, so
right.
We can't put Tim in this category.
Yeah,
Tim's bowled on tour.
Right. He is now. I mean, obviously, he's number one if he never bowled on tour. I even put Tim Mack ahead of Newman.
Yeah, like 1A, 1B.
100%. But yes, Timmy was an exempt player on tour, so no, he's not on my list, even though he's obviously on my list.
How about this one? I'll give you one. Another lefty.
Okay.
He made one show in his career on tour. At the double show, he made it as an amateur. Now,
did we talk about this guy last week?
No, I would put this guy. And if you're going to have the Mount Rushmore of lefties,
I got him.
There's Earl, Parker, Albee. I would put Couch on there, and I would put this guy as number 5.
Is it Mike Lickstein?
It is Mike Lickstein, 100%. Litchie is probably another. He never bowled on tour. He never had a card.
Great pick. Great pick.
Is there anybody better that fits this criteria than Litch?
He's up there, man.
Won the roller twice, maybe?
Yeah, anybody that knows Mike is in 100% agreement. And anybody that doesn't know Mike Lickstein, just write his name and then write bowling in any search engine, and you'll be a believer. He's that good. Good,
and he's the nicest guy in the world.
With the greatest taste in music.
Yes. Now, here's my thing with Litchie. And I hold him in a very high regard. I do. I honestly think I put him on that Mount Rushmore of lefties. I do. Like I think he was as good as those guys were. With urethane, he was just as good as Albee and Cook and Parker. With resin, he was just as good as all of them. I mean, or am I mistaken by saying that? Am I overshooting my coverage here?
No, I think that I think Michael started to drift off in the resin era. I found him using a lot of lower end resin balls or super high end resin balls where he really smoked the surface with some serious charcoal. Like even before Aberlon pads, smacking him with Scotch-Brite to get him to hook stop, because Litchie did not want to lay off it at the bottom, and a lot of his game disallowed him from laying off it at the bottom.
Like he threw that EPX, that piece of shit Columbia thing for the longest time.
Yeah, all those R balls, the ricochet, the roll, the rebound, then they had the arc and the rip, and like I remember him throwing those balls, and it was like the first time he almost looked normal to me, because like it looked like you can compete against him. But yeah, Litchie, no doubt about it. Guaranteed amateur Hall of Famer that never went on tour. So, per usual, it's 4:30 p.m. It's getting dark. I got to turn my light on.
Ninth through 16 paid $5,300, and 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th took home.
Can I get to a good lit shot? And John, the most awkward, unorthodox approach ever that I've ever seen before.
Great job at this tournament.
You ain't ever gonna miss that game.
Messenger fell off.
And just did it the same every time.
Every single time.
That is your. He holds the record. Most NEBA titles in the history of NEBA.
As he should.
As he should. He's over, I think he's like 35 or 40. I'm not really sure, but it's a lot.
Mike Lickstein.
I mean, how many team challenges has this guy won? He's won the roller twice.
His spare. The 10th frame.
It's the same shot, but. And there it is.
Beautiful.
So, Litchie will put on the list as well. That is a no-brainer. Let's you have one for me? You want me to throw you another one?
I got one.
Go ahead.
This guy could play. He could dress up as Harry Potter for Halloween without buying a single piece of clothing, a wig, eyeglasses. He could just walk into a bar on Halloween and say, "I'm Harry Potter."
Wow, I'm drawing a complete blank on this one. This is bad.
He used to throw, I believe, Legends and Lane Masters equipment when they had the diamond dust particles in the covers.
Now you've completely stumped me. What era would this guy be from? The 2000s?
JD's era. All right. I'll give you initials.
Go ahead.
BH.
Bill Hoffman.
Bill Hoffman.
Phenomenal player. Team USA guy forever.
Absolutely sensational. And to my knowledge, I don't even know if Bill ever bowled a single PBA event, to my knowledge.
Minus the Masters, probably.
Yeah, and that's definitely somebody that is 100% on this list for me.
Yeah, I have him on my list, too.
Nice.
I have Billy Hoffman on there. Does he even bowl anymore?
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. But I hope he still is. I mean, he was really, really awesome to watch.
I would assume he's referring to Steve Pavlenko Sr., that is.
I would assume as well.
I would assume as well. All right. How about I'll throw one at you. This guy's from Florida. I am going to say, and I have said this for the longest time, I think this guy is the best amateur player in the world.
John Janowitz.
Very good. No-brainer.
No-brainer.
Cut his teeth, team challenges, rollers, everything. Team USA, he's always a threat at the Masters, always a threat at the US Open. I don't even know how many Eagles the guy has won. Is there any arguing that John Janowitz?
Zero. He's another guy that anything he enters, especially if they're hard. I mean, if they're hard, JJ's top 20. If they're easy, JJ's top 30. Actually, you know what? If they're hard, JJ's top 15. Always. He's 100,000%. I can't believe he's on my list. I should have said him sooner also, but
no particular order, but Janowitz is on there, and he is a genius when it comes to this game.
Absolutely is. And a humble genius at that, which is very, very rare.
And
very rare.
Loves his food.
Yeah, good, really, really good man. Really.
And he just turned 50.
Yeah, God bless him, man. He's awesome.
So how about another guy from Florida?
Okay.
Now, this guy migrated to Florida.
Okay.
He was originally from Maryland, I believe. Okay. He married a woman who bowled on the ladies tour. They are no longer married. They're divorced. This guy was in the Barnes era.
Okay. Does he still bowl?
Yes. He's in the USBC Hall of Fame.
Did he bowl for Wichita State?
No. No. He was this JD got it already. You can't see the chat, right, John?
No.
All right. This guy stands probably about 6'5". And every team challenge this guy was on, they would put him in the 2-hole.
Are you talking about John Gaines?
Yes, I am.
Wow.
That is John Gaines.
Wow.
Now, going back to JD, again, I don't know if Gaines was ever a touring player.
See, Rudy's not on my list, but Gaines would have been. Because I don't ever remember Gaines being on tour, even for a year. Like when Rudy had that year where he made the show at the flagship and outside in New York for the NYC experience. I know that he at least tried to bowl that whole year on the tour.
He led Carolier. He led Carolier.
Did he? He led Carolier?
Yeah, the year Doug won at Carolier, Rudy
That's
was
right. I forgot about that too. And then the following week,
was
he
New
made
York.
it back-to-back weeks. That's right. Yes.
Yeah,
Wow. Good call.
Rudy
man.
bowled full time on tour, so I can't put Rudy on the list.
Got it.
Gaines was a hell of a bowler, though.
Oh God, and dangerous, man. I mean he was one of my old bosses when I worked for Bowlers Mart, and had the luxury of drilling him a bowling ball. And you want to talk about a paw, man? That thing, woo, woo, woo. And no grips, amazing.
Really,
no grips. Just his hand just fell on the ball like it was supposed to be in his hand.
He got 4 steps and just got all over it
with seemingly no effort whatsoever. Like he looked like he was in slow-mo almost on the way to lane, just like as gentle and easygoing as possible. And even when he hit it, it looked gentle. Kind of like reminds me of like Ken Griffey Jr.
Effortless, yeah.
Yeah, but he hits it 500 feet. It doesn't make it looks beautiful and pure and smooth, but it doesn't look like he's swinging to hit it 500 feet. Kind of like Aaron Judge these days.
That's a good comparison.
Even though I'm a Met fan, but you know, like Judge's swing is way more core, and Giancarlo Stanton's swing is more hacky. Yeah, that's like exactly. So I compare Gaines more to like an Aaron Judge swing than I would a Stanton swing.
You got another one for me?
Yeah.
Fire away.
This is one of my old league teammates, made famous for making paper airplanes at league and lighting them on fire and just shooting them a couple pairs down.
Is this in New Jersey or Ohio or Nevada?
This is in Ohio. He is a longtime Hammer representative.
Adam Barta.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's and again, if he's never been on tour for a full year, I don't know if he ever will. And if he was on tour, I personally think he's got at least a half a dozen titles easily at this point. That's a guy that you know, of all the games that I admired growing up, you know, I loved the fluid, smooth, controlled Brian Voss and Norm Duke games. I loved the raw power of a Jason Couch. But what I also always really appreciated was the shorter guys with faster feet and a little bit longer slides and shorter backswings. Marshall Holman, Adam Barta, Wayne Webb. Those guys that just kind of even like a Bob Learn, you know, those guys got to the line fast. They were more leg players. I don't know. I've always admired the guys that use more leg, whether they're closer to the ground or not, simply because everything just looks like it's in control. Everything is always moving forward when those guys throw the ball. And obviously Adam Barta, everybody in the bowling world knows who Adam Barta is. And of course he's on this list.
Yeah. And I don't think Barta ever bowled on tour, right? Never.
Not that I know of.
No.
Not that I know of.
I'll give you another one here. Let's throw one at John here.
Okay.
JD, I'm trying to find this clip of John Gaines. It's the most ridiculous message I've ever seen. He throws it across the deck like 3 times. It's unbelievable. Let's see, John. How much do I want to test John right now? I'll go with this guy. He's from Texas.
That's it?
No, I'm trying to think what else I can say here. He's from Texas. Little guy. He's probably in his 50s, maybe 60s now. Or if he's 60, he's in his very early 60s.
Okay.
Arguably one of the best action bowlers ever out of anywhere. With a big team challenge guy. Never ever bowled on tour. But again, JD got him. He had a little Hitler mustache and a little curly fro.
Joe Vito?
Joe Vito. That's the
oh
guy.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know he was from Texas.
Yeah, from Texas. He was with like the Ballard, Duke, Robert Lawrence camp, those guys.
Dude, Joe Vito was awesome.
Viali told us a story once that he would go to the roller and openly challenge anybody, any 2 guys, for whatever they want. One guy, if one of them beat him, they both won. He would pay the both of them. He never lost. And Vito, Viali said arguably the best action bowler ever. He never lost ice water in his veins. And even some of the tour guys said he would have had a good career on tour. Maybe would have popped off a win or two. But
totally.
Joe Vito.
I think Joe Vito could still make a show on a senior tour.
Yeah, he's still bowling in Texas. But how's that for a name? Joe?
That's a goodie.
You got another one for me?
I do. Which one do I want to give?
If it's Don Scudder, I'm going to be very upset, John. You got a handful.
It's not Don Scudder. I got that. Okay. Mini Eliminator champion.
Okay.
Full roller. Late 90s. He won the mini eliminator with a monster smash R.
That was a good bowling ball.
Oh yeah, one of my all-time favorites on my list on my show.
Yeah, that was a really good ball. Was this the year that Purvis was on the show or no?
No. He defeated Brian Wallachek.
I don't know who it is, but I'm going to say it's that guy.
Dave Ewald.
Nah, I don't know him, John, so you got to fill me in on this one.
You know how everybody was it's crazy that Tom Smallwood is a full roller that can still curve the whole lane.
Yes.
Dave Ewald, his ball roll was less rainbowy than Tom Smallwood's, but his speed was way higher, and he hammered it at the bottom. I mean, he absolutely hammered it at the bottom. And he was very, very good playing in while keeping it online with that full roller release. And I always remember JD would always tell me about Ewald before I got to see Ewald. And that year I had gone out to the mini eliminator. I took a cross-country drive with my dad. That was the first mini I bowled. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching Ewald that week and saying, whoa, like I know what JD's talking about now that I've seen this guy bowl. So Dave Ewald is on my list of best amateurs that never went on tour.
All right. I'll give you this guy. This guy is a Team USA guy. I believe he also won the mini eliminator. Originally from Michigan. And he has since moved down to Florida.
Everybody's moved to Florida, huh?
Yeah, everybody's moving to Florida. I bowled with this guy once. JD got him again. I bowled with this guy in one of my matches at the roller. He was on my pair. No, John, please don't stop. Just stay there. If JD wants to text me his email address, John, we could bring him on. He can join us for.
I think that would be lovely.
That would be lovely.
I've got until 5 tonight because I'm going back to Bowl League for the first time.
Yes, you told me that.
October.
I wish you well.
Yeah, got my Colum. Yeah.
I could have got really quick. No, you're okay. I bowled this guy on the same pair at the roller, and he was like, I don't even know how to describe it. Just pure, just intensity. And his nickname is the Captain.
I'm really drawing a blank on this one, Mike.
VP or his initials.
Vernon Peterson, John.
Vernon Peterson, the Captain. How's that for a name? Won the eliminator.
That guy, I actually had the pleasure of having a couple beverages with Vernon the last time I saw him out here in Vegas. It's actually out here just before I left to New Jersey for the summer.
The Captain.
Still whacking him. You know, what was really, I have to talk about the little intricacies of each guy that we bring up here.
Absolutely.
The most impressive thing to me about Vernon Peterson is he can open up the entire bowling lane with zero shoulder turn. If anybody ever gets the chance to watch Vernon Peterson, he gets his backswing so high, but typically something has to happen to elevate your backswing height. For instance, Dick Allen. Dick Allen's backswing looks like it's going through the ceiling, but his left shoulder, his lead shoulder, is down to his waistline. So it gives the appearance that it's higher than it is. Old Pete Weber, same thing. Vernon Peterson has no tilt of his spine whatsoever. And
he's erect the whole time going to the line.
Yeah, and he's got a pendulum arm swing that goes above his head. And he is so solid at the line. So solid. Every single time. 100% champion on tour, if he was.
Absolutely. Vern's a good one.
Really, really good one.
You got another one?
I do. I don't know enough about him, but he's on my list because I've never seen him bowl in real life. I've only watched him on reruns of videos. But I remember in my younger years, all the really big JBT guys telling me about some of the World Team Challenge guys that I was like a little late on. So I don't really know how to give you clues as to who this is. So I'm just going to say his name.
Okay.
And it's Dave Gwindon.
Oh, Gwindon. I think Gwindon bowled on tour.
Did he? I see. Like I said, I didn't know.
He did bowl on tour.
Okay.
He bowled 300 on the Eliminator show.
I believe you are. Yes, correct.
Gwindon did bowl on tour. I'm almost positive he did.
Okay, then can I replace him if that's the case with Rick Miller?
Rick Miller's a good one.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And season's greetings, Charlie.
Hey, Charlie.
Charlie, I'm still waiting.
Greetings.
I'm still waiting for the answer for those 2 questions I asked you over the weekend, Charlie. We'll leave it at that. We'll discuss that off the air, John.
Sounds good.
How about okay, you would know this more than I would because he's from Las Vegas. I don't know if he ever bowled on tour. I know he bowled a couple stops here and there. I will say his name. He made me several dollars when I watched you bowl league in the summer off of Alex Aguiar. David Haynes. Did David Haynes bowl on tour?
David Haynes bowls virtually every regional he possibly could. David bowls everything. He does bowl a couple tour stops here and there, but I don't think David was ever on tour full time. So David is definitely on that list. And, ironically, his wife Tisha is the secretary of our league tonight.
Okay.
And he obviously bowls tonight as well. I'll ask him. I'll let him know that.
I don't know if he ever bowled on tour.
I don't think so. I know that he had a fantastic amateur career, and I know that he still bowls every regional he can possibly get to.
And the man could hook it on a sheet of ice.
Yeah, and he can also throw it halfway down the lane and splice 1-2 with urethane.
Really?
Yeah. If you ask anybody that's watched old school David Haynes, or David Haynes could legit fly the ball on the half board 10 feet down the lane with accuracy. It's incredible to watch.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I get to watch it. I never really have to watch it at league or anything like that, but if there's a local tournament, like when him and I finished 1-2 at the Pam Buckner in qualifying, I was on the rail with a rubber LT and he was on the rail with something, and we were the only two that averaged 220 in qualifying. But he is again, we were in the stadium, so I had a little bit more of a ledge than he did.
No, not you.
Oh yeah, but no, that's 100% a great pick. Obviously, I was gonna see who wanted to give Viali to the crowd, and since John Daniel gave Viali, I will add Steve Klemkin to my list.
I have Klemkin on my list too. I did not have Falera.
I did not have Mike Falero either.
No,
because I didn't think of him.
I have another one. This guy was a Wichita guy.
Okay.
He was on those teams with Barnes and Healy. I know for a fact he never bowled on tour. He repped on tour for a while.
Brian Berg?
No, not Brian Berg. That's a good one too.
Beautiful game.
Very beautiful game. This guy, he has been with Storm now for I want to say 25 years. And I don't know what his title is there. He's R&D maybe. He's way up the ladder at Storm. A very deep knee bend and a very quick, short follow through. Steve Klemkin.
We just said him.
Did we say Klemkin?
Yeah, you said he was on your list too.
No,
I'm sorry. That's why. No, it's okay. That's why I'm like, wait a minute. What? That sounds like Klemkin.
Too much eggnog. Fuck me. Klumpkin's a hell of a bowler, though.
Oh, fantastic.
How about Brian O'Keefe?
Never got to watch him enough. And so I don't know if he would have won on tour. But the few times that I have seen him in World Team Challenge videos, he's certainly good. I mean, great player. I mean, for me, it's like, okay, here we go. You can argue who's the better bowler in the house. Is it Carolyn or Dell, right? You can argue that because they have both had historic Hall of Fame careers. They're both household names. They're both sensational bowlers, right?
I see where you're going with this, yeah.
The qualifications of Brian don't quite match up to the other member in the household to me.
Okay.
Again, I never heard of, like, I don't have any stories about Brian O'Keefe. I've never even met Dave Ewald, but I know about Dave Ewald's bowling performances. So no, I did not have O'Keefe on my list, and nothing against Brian, but he's not on my list.
I got one more.
I have one more too.
And I'm going to pose, and then I'll pose a question to end it. And this is where JD can chime in as well, because I'm sure this will be a very good one to end it. Do you want to give me yours first? Maybe it's the same guy.
It could very well be. I actually have to go back to my list and check it out. I have a feeling Rochelle's going to come in because she can't find the dog and doesn't know that the dog's on the show with us. So if you see that door open, she's going to probably get freaked out. Who did I have? One more player here that never went on tour. No, I'm sorry. Of course. My last one is from Massachusetts.
That's my guy too.
Aguiar?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
And I mean, not for nothing, I do want to say actually one more person that is on my list.
Okay.
And again, these are bowlers that never, ever went on tour. All right. Mm-hmm. This guy's from New Jersey. And he's an active listener to the show. Not Viali.
No,
but
the guy who's saying.
Viali's already in, but yes.
The guy who's saying Viali, yeah.
Yeah. Now, again, I always, like I said, I have tidbits of every person that's on my list. For me, I have never in my life seen I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about this. To me, JD does nothing wrong in his physical bowling game. He gets his hands so far on the inside of the ball at the bottom that I'm envious and jealous of it. I'm truly envious and jealous of what he can do to a bowling ball. And I'm thinking of, like, dude, I went home to watch him bowl a tournament and he was throwing that piece of shit. I think it was called an Alter Ego. Or no, it was another Columbia ball. It's newer than an Alter Ego. It was like black and almost like a shit lime green and yellow color.
Okay.
JD, if you know what I'm talking about, dude, what ball was that? They made a couple of them. I think that it was the second one. Maybe it was called the recent? Raw. This is maybe 8 years ago, 7 years ago. I can't remember. But just watching him throw it over the front part of the lane and watching him be able to rainbow it and then go up the lane and then lay it down early and then loft it and just always, everything was always in line. So for me growing up, I got to watch that all the time. And it wasn't that, JD. It was like more black. It was like a black with like a limeish green, almost yellow. It was a solid. It was an asymmetric ball. If you were throwing Columbia at the time, I think it was a Columbia product.
I'll tell you what, my favorite JD era was JD throwing the AMF, that pink thing.
The Power Up Series Slam.
Yeah, that and a blue 2001 hammer.
Nice.
Or a 2000 hammer, the blue 2000, and he had the cheater balls. Oh my god! And like you said, he could throw it over the gutter cap like it was nothing.
Mm-hmm. Remember JD throwing that Total Annihilation from Morich? That ball was such a boat anchor, and he made it look so good.
I remember there was one weekend where we went to bowl something at Bristol Pike. JD won the thing at Bristol Pike. We bowled a doubles tournament that night at Shore Lanes in Neptune, John. That place that's still standing somehow.
Yeah, it's amazing that place is still there.
And it was 8 games of doubles. So JD and I bowled together, and it was Jim Smith $40 is the payouts. Joe Jones $50. Bob, whatever $100, and the rest of the money goes to Mike and JD. JD threw an X Factor. I'll never forget it. Playing 8. It was an X Factor or the Tour Power, and
either one
murdered
is
the next day we go bowl the Red Hot down at Laurel in Maple Shade, and he is just slow curving it, running them over. And he still is a talent. I mean, phenomenal. But here's the question I'm going to pose to you to end this. We have 15 minutes to go.
Okay, and while you're doing that, I'm not ignoring you. I'm looking for the ball that I can see JD throwing at that doubles tournament.
Okay,
with Jen Russo. So I'm still listening, but as soon as I see it, I'm going to know what it is.
So let's take the top 5 that we can think of in that generation, like the 90s Megabuck generation.
Okay.
Regardless if they bowled on tour or not. And
my God. We forgot Tony Manna. Sorry.
Oh, Nebraska guy.
Yeah, we forgot Tony Manna.
He's bowling on the senior tour now, though.
He's still in there.
Is that the ball, John?
Huh? No, I'm still looking.
No, the epidemic?
No, it's not the epidemic. I'll think of it. I
right,
want to say it was like raw something. Raw something, maybe? Raw Urge. Is that a ball?
Yeah, it's a Columbia thing.
That's a ball.
All right, so here.
There it is.
The Raw Urge?
That ball.
Ooh, that looks like a bad night of drinking.
Yeah, he was throwing that ball. That's what I remember. Evelyn, stop eating anything.
All right, so let's take the top 5 guys. This is the question I'm going to say. Let's say the 90s Megabuck scene, right? Regardless if they both on tour or not, I'm going to throw 5 guys that I think were the best in that time.
Okay.
Barnes, Pat Healy, Mika, Newman, Rudy. Honorable mention Litch.
Nice.
Can those 6 guys, who had more talent? Those 6 guys or the 6 top guys on tour in the 90s? And I'll say Parker, Walter, Duke.
The 6
Weber,
guys. Good.
Let's say Parker, Walter, Duke, Voss, Weber, Albee. There's 6.
Them.
Who do you think had more talent?
The guys on tour.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Because it is the pinnacle level of the sport. It is competing against week in and week out elements in different cities. It's the construct it's the structure that you need to be able to maintain a week-to-week basis, traveling to different cities, adapting to different lane conditions, lane surfaces, bowling ball adjustments, weather conditions. It's being able to support yourself mentally and financially while you're away from your family for 30 weeks a year on tougher conditions against the world's elite, or at least the U.S. elite on the PBA Tour. Now, do I think if the 6 guys that you mentioned were thrown on tour and given a decade to go perform on tour, it would be a closer race? But the 6 names you mentioned on the tour in the 90s, no, man, I can't. No matter as much as I'd like to say that, there's no way I can take an amateur and say a group of amateurs and say they're better than the best of the game's ever seen for a certain era.
They all became superstars on tour. We're not doubting that.
Right. So, like, for instance, Chris Barnes is one of the best bowlers in the world.
Absolutely.
So, again, yes, Pat Healy was one of the best bowlers in the world while he was on tour. At least, you know what I mean? But I think that if you take all of them and you send them all out there at once, the 6 amateurs versus the 6 pros, no, I'm not going to take it away from Duke, Walter Ray, Pete, Parker, Albee, and Voss. No way.
Interesting. They could. I would think they could compete. The AMs
compete,
could definitely
yes,
hold their own. Absolutely. But I mean, again, like those events that they bowled in, whether it was the roller, the hoinky, whatever you want to call it, and then going overseas, I mean, they saw a lot of stuff. Look at Mika. Mika was a totally different animal bowling on that garbage over in Europe, and then he came here. So I don't know. Like,
how many titles does Mika have, and how many years did he bowl on tour? What's Mika got? 8 titles? 2 majors? 3 majors?
No way. No. Mika has to have more than that. Are you looking that up, or am I going to look it up?
No, I don't usually look up anything. I will if you'd like me to.
I'll take a look for you.
I still get skewed because I equate titles to what I actually watch on television. I forget that there's like a million titles available throughout the year now that nobody knows about.
All right, so Mika. All right, that's the wrong one there. I am looking for. Mika's 55 now. Do you know that?
I know he's been on the senior tour for a while.
He won on the senior tour as well.
And he'll continue to win. He's one of the best bowlers the world's ever seen.
Oh, 100%. Mika Koivuniemi, where is your bio, sir? Mika has won titles in 21 different countries. That's pretty good. He's a 2-time player of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Mika has 14 titles on tour. 3 majors and 1 50 tour, PBA 50 title, which was also a major. So 21. They said, according to this, he has 21 plus international wins before counting his tour stuff.
And how many years on tour?
He joined the PBA in 1999.
Okay. So over a 20-year career on the PBA Tour, forget the 21 other countries because remember, the batch of 6 guys that you brought up from the PBA Tour were doing all of their bowling over here at the pinnacle level here, which is where all the international players come to bowl. They come here.
Correct.
We used to go over there to make all the money. We used to go there because the talent pool was lower than here.
The Tim Mack, what Timmy did.
Right. Not taking anything away from Tim Mack or Robert Smith. But when you only have 10 Pete Webbers instead of 100 Pete Webbers, it's an easier pool to beat. But anyway, what I'm saying here is simply this. If you take just his PBA Tour stats over a 22 or 23-year PBA career, Mika Koivuniemi has less titles than all 6 of the guys you mentioned on the PBA side. And he has less majors than all of them except 1.
Well, Barnes is the same way, too. Barnes has 18 titles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are we
well, Barnes, but that's more titles. That's you're right. But again, Barnes has done both. Barnes went from one to the other, so he's not really included in this because he is one of the best bowlers in the world, and so is Mika. But just going based off sheer numbers and what you're saying, comparing those 2 batches of 6 to where is more of the talent.
Okay, so let me flip this around for a second then. So let's say if the roles are reversed, where there was no eligibility rules to, like, say, bowl the hoinky or the high roller, right? Where Newman and Rudy and Litchi and all those guys made a living, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's put in the 6 guys I mentioned on tour: Parker, Walter, Duke, Voss, Albee, and whoever the 6th one was, I forgot. Right? Would they come in and run them over? Would they just, you know what I mean?
At that time?
At the same time, like at the height of Newman, at the height of Rudy, at the height of Litchi, Barnes, Healy, Mika, all those guys. Now you're gonna allow PBA professionals to bowl the eliminator, the roller, the hoinky, all, everything, all those events. Are you going to say that they would run over the Rudys of the world and the Newmans of the world? And we hold Newman at the highest level, at the highest regard.
Run over them? No. Would they have taken away the majority of the wins? Yes. Yes. Because, again, Rudy Revs and guys like that, they, for lack of a better way to put it, dude, and Rudy's one of my favorite people on the planet.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing that may have separated is if you hit the shit out of it and threw it hard, and you can curve the lane, you had a pretty good chance at all those things. That's pretty safe to say. The Newmans, if you could throw it over the front like a Mika, if you were just one of the best in the world like a Barnes, whatever it is. But I do. Parker Bone is one of the best bowlers that's ever lived, and in my eyes, I know that Earl's won more than Parker. I get it, but I'm just not as about Earl Anthony as everybody else is.
You never saw Earl Anthony at his prime either.
No, I didn't. And again, the guy won 40 titles in 12 years. Yes, I get it. Yeah. But to me, if he bowled against Parker Bone, he's going to lose. He's going to lose to Parker, and even in the early resin era, like whatever, it doesn't matter.
Well, Parker is more versatile too, though. That's the biggest thing.
But I like when I think of like the guys that were kicking ass at, like when I think of it, and Anthony Pepe winning the World Match Games by 300 pins with a tropical storm, or I think about Mike Mullen and Chris Sand making a show in an arena, or I think about Gary Faulkner winning a World Championship, right? When I think about all of this shit, I'm like, if Parker Bone goes and bowls the Hoinky or the Mini Eliminator, he's going to win. He's going to take a spot away from one of those other elite amateurs, the same way Pete Weber would, the same way Brian Voss would, the same way Norm Duke would. I mean, I don't see that as a I hate to be like self-centered in my thoughts here, because I really do like try and listen to learn rather than speak. But I'm not sold on this one. I can't take the best bowlers at the most pinnacle level ever and say that if they were replaced by this batch that they wouldn't have won as much.
Okay, last one. Let's go back.
Okay.
If we take Newman at the height of his game,
okay,
when his trick was urethane, right, where he could make urethane look like a ball now, where nobody else could do that. Would Newman have won on tour against those guys in the 90s?
If Newman was on tour I'm going to give you from 1990 to 1995. If Newman was on tour for that period of time, he would have made probably 6 shows between 1990 and 1992. He probably would have been one of the guys throwing the Excalibur, not only Mark McDowell in 92. I would go 6 shows and 2 wins from 1990 to 1992.
Like the Blue Hammer era.
And then 1993 to 1995, I would give him 8 more shows with 3 more wins. So I would in 5 years, I would give Newman 5 PBA titles. So I would give him an average of a 20-year career, a 20-time titleist, yes, which in this sport means you're one of the best ever. And we're identifying Mike Newman in our eyes as one of the, again, I don't want to put his name above a Tim Mack, a Robert Smith, a Chris Barnes, but we are talking about a guy who everybody that saw him bowl wishes he was still out there bowling just to see what he would have done, you know?
Does Litch win if Litch is bowling against Parker and Albee at the height of his career? I think so too.
Litch is a champion on tour, absolutely. 100%. Like to me, guys like say Matt McNeil, Rick Lawrence, Chris Hayden, Billy Oatman, guys like that are going to be. They'll have a week here and there. They'll get hot for a week or two where what they do well matches up. Litch, I think, could make a show on anything. Even more so than, say, an Anthony Pepe. I think that Litch has more raw talent than most of the guys we've discussed on today's show. And yes, I think he wins on tour. Yeah.
Litch, I think Litch would hold his own against Parker and Couch and Albee. In that mid-90 era, like who else? I'm drawing a blank on what other good lefties were out there in that time frame. Scroggins wasn't a factor in the mid to late 90s.
No, Patrick Allen was still a little bit too young. I mean, he did make the show. He did make the Beaumont double show in 92 with Litch as his partner.
But he wasn't out there yet. He was not out there.
No, he was not.
The only lefties that you can think of in that time, Parker, Couch, Stayrook.
And even Stayrook was relatively short-lived. I mean, yes, he had a good career, but, he bowled for 10, 12 years.
Okay, so here. Ready?
Yeah.
This is going to be Litch against said bowler. All right? Litch, John Mazza.
What's the question?
Better player. Litch, John Mazza.
Well, John Mazza is a 6 or 7 time PBA champion, tour veteran. Do I think Lich would have won more on tour if he was out there as long as Mazza?
Yes.
I think he would have had a similar career to Mazza.
Lich against Dennis Horan.
Better career than Dennis Horan.
Lich against who's the one we just discussed right before we just mentioned him.
Mazza.
Before Mazza. Who was the one we were just talking about? Stayrook.
He would have had a better close but better career than Stayrook.
Now, I'll give you Scroggins. Even going into the sport bowling era when Scroggins really made his name.
That is an era-based question because if Lich is out on tour from 1992 to 2000 with Mike Scroggins, he wipes the floor with Mike Scroggins. Mike Scroggins has zero prayer against Lichtenstein. With the introduction of sport bowling, and when they said, hey, if you're a lefty that curves the ball, I'm talking to you. Ricky Ward, Jason Couch, Parker Bone, Mike Albee, Steve Cook. Who else am I missing that curved the ball that was a lefty and then all of a sudden was told he can't fucking curve it anymore? Lich.
Scott Devers.
This is a tricky one, Mike. Scott Devers made a lot of shows.
He did.
Made a lot of shows.
Very accurate player.
Yeah, but I think Lich has a better career than Scott Devers.
Last one, Litchie or Richie Wolf?
Litchie.
Even though, Richie Wolf was fantastic, John. And granted,
he's the most stunningly beautiful game and most talented bowler I've ever seen that has absolutely no idea how to win. It's a shame, and that is, I suffer. I love Richie to death. I suffer from a little bit of a, second guessing myself, and I know what it's like to not really have it in the head unless your back is against the wall. And for some reason, Richie has not figured out how to win. And you have to know how to win in order to be successful. And so, no, I think Litchie's going to win a PBA title. So therefore, he's going to have a better career than Richie Wolf.
How many would Litchie have gotten is the question. Because in that era, that beginning of resin, he would have been a factor. 100% would have been a factor.
I think that he's a shoo-in over 10 titles if he bowls in the urethane era. I think if he's in the early stages of the resin era, he's still a 10-time champion. I think if you put Litchie out on tour in 2001 when they started introducing sport bowling, I think Litchie struggles. And I think that Litchie is the kind of bowler that would have said, you know what, Soda Mop Hoss, I've been successful for my entire career, grabbing the shit out of it at the bottom and lofting it over the fronts. And this was fun. I came out here and tried this, but I'm not going to change my whole game to fit this where the money's half as good as it is in the megabuck shit anyway.
Litchie or Jason Couch?
Couch.
Still?
Yes.
100%. No question asked.
Couch. The only people you could say to me, Couch or that I picked the other guy is Parker. Albee. That's it. And even Albee was like, Parker said this to me at Howell once. He said there's certain bowlers that have somebody's number. And he says, I always had Albee's number, meaning Parker always beat Albee on television. He goes, Albee always had, right. Albee always had Parker's number, but Parker always had Jason's number.
That is
so
right.
That's in that mix of it could go either way. It kind of depends on the way those two. The same way Pete Weber is 2-9 against Walter Ray on television, Then he's 180-40 against everybody else.
Last one, I promise. But then you got to go to league, and this is from this is from JD. Litchie or PA?
PA.
Really?
Yes.
They are identical, age-wise, probably, right? We're very close to it.
Mm-hmm. PA bowled on tour for what? 15 years?
Probably, give or take. But Patrick was also very hurt toward the end of his career with his knees.
Yeah. 15 years or so, 10, 12 titles, couple majors, player of the year, second highest single season earnings record ever. I'm not going to bet on somebody else against that.
Fair point.
Although the biggest bet in the world, and anybody, if they had social media or outlets like this back then, would be, do you think Pete Weber's going to win as many titles as his dad?
Oh, God.
26 titles? No, I don't. And sure enough, he's above and beyond. That's amazing.
Love you, brother. Merry Christmas.
Same to you, my friend. Merry Christmas. And to all our Jewish friends, Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. And anybody else celebrating any other holidays that we left out, enjoy your holidays. We'll be back maybe next Tuesday. I don't know. It all depends. Maybe we'll take a week off with the holidays. Who the hell knows? Let me know how you do, bowling league.
I will.
Good luck. Don't hurt yourself again, please.
I'm bringing a top speed, a plastic ball, and an ocean vibe.
Oh, interesting arsenal. No red edge in the bag tonight?
No red edge, no attitude control, no purple hammer, no nothing.
Now, have you tried to bowl before tonight, or this is like your first time going at it?
Rochelle and I went to Sunset Station to visit my buddy Todd Adams to drill that top speed. Adam Ishman, my ball rep, sent me 2 cases of balls, and I wanted to drill at least one of them. I was getting cabin fever, not being able to walk or bowl, and the first game was very tricky. I was taking like a 1.5 step approach, and I could barely stay balanced at the line. So most of the time I was throwing it with my upper body, but tonight, at least, I've been going to the gym consistently now for a little over a week. I have Advil, and I feel like I'm prepared for 3 games. And if not, because of the holiday, we're off next week anyway.
Yeah.
So even if I am down for the count, I got nothing to do until after the new year anyway.
All right. Well, we'll talk. I'm sure we'll probably be back at this next Tuesday. We'll figure out another topic to stir the pot with.
Sounds good. I'll think of one too for you.
Yeah, let me know. I mean, I'm open for anything. I like these things where we can like have a nice conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's really not much going on. We're going to break down team trials or prepare team trials in a couple of weeks. That's not really nice.
Yeah, I mean, we could. I'd like to get everybody familiar with the way the point system works at team trials and things along those lines. Because if you just walk in, you kind of have no idea. The way it works is I believe you get the amount of points for the place you finish. So like when I walk in and I see Shannon Pluhowski after day 2 with 6, and then the person under her has 119, I'm like, like, what does that mean? That means Shannon finished third, and the other person finished 60th.
Of course.
So, but
we can do that.
We could do something like that. We can maybe reach out to some of the bowlers coming out to bowl the RPI and see what their plans and intentions are. That'd be a good idea. Get a couple of these. You know who I'd like to get on this show? Who we should ask?
Troy Lind.
Recent champion, Troy Lind. Yes.
He just won this weekend.
With Anthony Nyer.
With
yes.
Anthony Nyer. Team Purple Hammer, probably.
Team Troy Lind.
He's going to win. I'm telling you, he is going to win a national senior title.
I believe so, too.
I'll talk to Troy.
I said that last year when he almost made it at the Nationals. But, yeah, sounds good.
I'll talk to Troy. Go bowl league. Be careful. Don't kill yourself, please. And like and subscribe to the page, guys. Merry Christmas. John, love you, brother. I'll talk to you during the week. And
love you too,
enjoy the holiday, man. And everybody, we'll see you back next week.
Sounds good.